Welcome to Stationeers, and there was a new patch that added an extra crate, so I restarted it and played us through to the same point we were before. So nothing new there other than the fact we get an extra crate. The extra crate has a number of things in it. One of the things is a labeler, in case you want to label things, in case you have a fascination with labels. Some spray paint, and there is a tracking beacon. We don't quite need all of that just yet, but I thought best to have it in the game anyway. Hopefully you're enjoying this from the first episode. So we got a few things to actually do and rearrange here. First of all, this solar panel and this arrangement for power is no good, or at least it's okay to start with, but when the sun comes up, you'll see, well, this one goes down, you'll see there's a problem. So let's first of all, let's see what I need to do to deconstruct this. Which tool is it? This is the usual game, and unfortunately it's a little bit odd that you used, well, it's more realistic, but you need to use a different tool for many different things to deconstruct things. So what's wrong with this, you might say? Well, first of all, what's wrong is that, let's just disconnect you and you're fine. What's wrong with it is that the power is connected directly to the machines. That's fine as long as there's actually sunlight coming in, but as soon as the sunlight stops, so too do the machines. So we've got to have a bit of a change around here just to get things working a little bit better. So let's just move all of this. That should do. And I have been playing this game quite a bit offline, or not on camera, just to try everything out. There's a lot of stuff actually in here. It's quite detailed, even though it's really early access. So I am quite pleased with that, actually. Dean Hall, well done. There are lots of catastrophic bugs, mind you, but they are fixing them really quickly. The item that we actually need is in one of your crates, and it's called a power controller. There we go. Let's just pop back up here and around to the front. So the power controller, you need to watch the way it's oriented. So if we rotate this to point left, like that, we've got the solar panel providing power into it, and then out of the other side is going to be going, well, let's just make sure that this is sorted. Yeah, so out of the other side, we're going to get the cable. Fair enough. So let's put the cable back in and make sure it's set to the straight version. And you might think, hey, is that done? Well, no, not quite. Not far off, but not quite. So if we take our crowbar out and we crowbar the cover, yeah, inside here, you're going to find a bunch of stuff to do. So we've got 3 switches. We've got this master switch, and then we've got a space for a battery. So we're definitely going to need a battery first of all. Now I've got a large cell in there, but let me just grab... I actually want the large cell. If only because this will form, if you like, a battery backup for us. And that will last us, hopefully, somewhere through the night. And we can flip that on. And this is a little bit finicky with the hitboxes on these controls. If you can't get them just right, just back off a little bit and just try and get them that way. There are 3 hitboxes, I assure you. Just getting to them is the actual the finicky part. I think I actually may need to stand here, and I don't have a block there. And you can see I've started construction underneath. So let me actually grab, let me just change you, and let's grab some iron frames if I've got them in one of the boxes. Iron wall, mining belt, no. Do I have any mining frames left? I would have thought I had. No. I may have, oh, I know where they are. Or at least if there are any left, I know where they are. Down here, I started construction. It's probably a good idea for you to take a look. So we got these normal walls, and then we got a staircase down inside to some iron frames. And that's, I think, where our base is going to be down here. Now, if you're wondering how I'm going to get power down there, this is where the game gets a little bit complicated, but also awesome at the same time. You don't have to route things through through the structures in the usual way you might imagine, which is, you know, around the outside and through a door and all kinds of stuff. Instead, what you can actually just do is, let me just drop you. I'm going to need some other way. Oh, oops. I'm going to need some iron plates in a minute. Instead, you can route the cables through these blocks when they're in the deconstructed state, because there's two deconstruction states, if you remember. We can also weld these up to form like an X. We can route pipes through them and cables through them and then seal them up, and then that becomes a completed block, which works rather well. So yeah, I am actually quite pleased with that. Can I get this actual... There we are. There's that power control auto. What are they on? No, it's utility I want. Come on, utility. Ah, right. I'm going to sort that out. And as soon as I say that, I've just removed these blocks again. As soon as I say that, it's actually just fine. I can just click on it and it's fine. But for now, that's working. So what's going to happen is when that gets power from the sun, it's going to feed into this battery. That's going to go out that way to the rest of our machines, which I've had to put this extra pipe in, well, this extra cable in to hook everything up. So what we're actually going to need to do to look at, to create, is the electronics printer next, I think. That's going to need some iron, some gold, and some copper. And we need to feed in this way. Let's just take a look. Let me just grab our tools. And I did actually want the other backpack. There is a use for that other backpack. And I didn't know about it in the previous episode, but I do know about it now, so that's good. Let's just insert this pickaxe for a second. There we go. Take the other backpack, swap them over, hold M5. Then in 5, we can insert the tool, this one and this one. All right, so now we can just swap the backpacks. So if I just change over, put the tool back in here, if I've got this backpack out, and let's say I put this tool in my left hand, which is on, as long as I'm wearing this particular backpack, any ore I pick up is going to go straight to the backpack, which is going to be much better than I did last episode, where I was just fiddling around trying to get stuff. And this is the main mining drill. I was hoping that's what it will be, but I forgot that you had to turn it on with, once you've turned it on, you can just go hunting for resources. So, of course, I'm probably on the most barren moon in the world, in the universe. Let's see, I think I see some over there. Yes, what are you? Iron, I think? Silver. Okay, so let's take some silver. And that's just going to go straight up into our backpack. If I press 5, you'll see that there it is down at the bottom, 16 of it. And what you can do, you may well spot some areas on the ground that have cracks in them. If you do, there are veins of ore. And even if you don't find those, you should have a look on... Whoa, we're going down here, it seems. You should have a look... There we go, into the ground. Are you copper? Copper. We definitely need copper. So yeah, keep going into the ground and you will find more and more. It's going to be some kind of vein. So you could try and find, you know, the next node of copper. And this is why it reminds me so much of Astroneer. I'm almost sure the developers actually played that game, because this is exactly how you find it. And maybe even Astroneer took inspiration from another game. I don't know. If you do know, let me know in the comments. Quite interesting. So... we've got some other stuff. We've got some oxide. That'll be useful. There are the cracks I was talking about. That's generally used for, as you might expect, oxygen. Although I'm not sure if oxide is any kind of realistic term. This is trying to concentrate a lot more of the realism than most games. And I don't want to get anywhere near these. Drop down into those without your jetpack on, and you will have some interesting times, let me put it that way. You will ruin your suit. And I should mention, by the way, this is a pretty hardcore game in that if you die, you're dead. Yes. So save often. I know that's save scumming, but at this point, it is nice to be able to not have to replay everything if I'm making episodes for you guys. So let's wait for the sun to come up. And while the sun is up, make the most of finding all the resources that you can, which in this case we're going to get loads and loads of iron, not far from the base at all. There we go. And the mining drill is reasonably good. I almost want some kind of tracking beacon to get here. I haven't looked into how the tracking beacons work just yet, but once I do, we may well use those, depending on how much I have to manufacture. How much iron have we got? Wow, we've got about 90 iron. The battery should be charging back up at the base. I just want to go and find some copper. That's silicon. Don't need silicon just yet. More silicon? Yeah. This looks like volatiles. Volatiles are red color. Yeah. So we're going to keep on scouting around and trying to find gold and copper. And once I do, coal is actually useful. Yes, again, the comment about coal on the moon. That looks like gold in the distance, though. And the coal is more for a backup. So if you need something at night, you can actually get and use more coal to get that into the solid generator. Let's get some gold, hopefully. And there's probably more down here. Please be more down here. How much gold did I pick up? 2. I'd like more gold. Let's turn the light on, shall we? Yeah. Is there any gold veins? That'd be nice if there was, but doesn't look like it. Oh well. See you back at the base. And again, while they're in the daytime, we've got plenty of spare power. We just want to get as much of this iron cooked down as possible. Coal we can leave alone. I can put it even next to this generator. I'm not sure if I mentioned this I'm going to have to move. It's on the output side of this APC, and that means there's no buffering going on. So what I'm probably going to have to do is put it on the input side somehow. I'm probably going to run a cable that way and then off in that direction, just so we can have a reserve on this side of the battery. Alternatively, use the other power controller to have a second buffer if you like. So that may be something that we do. The auto lathe is ready for, it's got 3 out of 10 G, whatever G is. Can't be grams. It really cannot be grams. I assume it has to be kilograms. But we're going to get some iron out of this. And I've got 2 bits of gold, which is just about enough. Yeah, there's the iron. Let me just put in the gold. It shouldn't take very long at all, given there's only 2 grams or whatever that is. And we need some more copper. We need to go and find copper. That's fair enough. So what are we heading towards? With the electronics printer, once we have the ability to produce this, there's the gold. Let's just put in the next iron. And you can go. And then what I'm probably going to do is just redo this belt situation. Where's my other belt? We're heading towards a computer and a logic board. It's like a motherboard, basically. And that lets us do a bunch of things. One of which will be to automatically move the solar panel to track the sun. And that is great once you've got it going. Now, unfortunately, you can't do loops or any other programming structures. So you sort of have to do a sort of a state machine situation where you have, if the angle is greater than a certain amount, then do this. If the angle is greater than another certain amount, do this. You get the idea. So we'll have that kind of control over it. We're using a computer. But for the meantime, I guess I should just head out and get more mining done. So our copper's in progress, and we do need a couple of other things, actually. Let's just see. There's another part that we're going to need. And we're going to need to put it in... where are you? You're in one of these supplies. There we go. Construction kit sensors. We're going to make a sunlight sensor. You're still cooking. So you want it on a vertical surface. That's very important. Don't try and put this on a horizontal surface. And you can see it says 92 degrees. It's right above it, right above, and it's going to keep on going that way. If you put it on a horizontal surface, it goes from 90 to 0 to 90. That's no good. We can't use that to orient things because we don't know which way that 90 is. It could be one of 2 different directions. So we're going to use that combined with the solar panel to change everything. So are you done yet? We should be done fairly soon. And I'm going to need more cable, which needs copper, but that's not too much of a problem. I've got another lump of copper here now. It's 41, so we should have enough. What I'm going to need to do, however, I'm going to need to have a computer that, well, you'll see when I show you the computer, but it's going to have, there we go. Let's just start you up before I talk about that. Yep, we can make you. I'm going to make sure I don't make more than one, though. That's going to take quite a while. And it could make more than one. Do be aware when you press this button, it will happily make you continue making stuff until you tell it not to. I'm not sure if there's a way to just request one or not. Yeah, but if not, I'll keep my eye on it. Anyway, where was I? Yes, the computer is going to take two inputs. It's going to take power, so we need to get power from this side, but it's going to also take data. And the data for the solar panel and the daylight sensor is on this side. It's before this buffer. So do be aware that if when you connect this computer up, don't, whatever you do, connect them both to the same side. Worse, it would be bad. No, that's not the worst case. The worst case is you bridge the two sides and that just becomes, that it'll either explode or it won't do very good for the battery, depending on how realistically they model the batteries. But probably we're going to have data connected to this side and power from this side. So the power will be coming through from the buffer, and the data, which is what we're concerned about, is just the solar panel and this, and we don't have to worry about anything else. So that's fine. But first of all, we need to make this electronics printer, and I'll probably put it around here somewhere. All of these sort of construction modules are made. I just need to tilt you a little bit more. Are made much like this lathe, so they can receive an input from an arc furnace or some other similar kind of thing. However, what I don't want to do is chain one thing into another. You can eject the stuff out of the auto lathe, but to be honest, you probably want separate furnaces, or I don't think there's a conveyor system in yet like Space Engineers, but if we had a conveyor system, that's what we'd have. We just don't have it yet, of course. And let me just get this tilted again. Yeah. And make sure I turn this off. There we go. So we've got an electronics printer. We can put that wherever we like. Let's just rotate it. In this case, we don't have to worry too much about the data and everything else. So I'm actually just going to reuse this. Can I build you there without problems with that? Yeah, it looks like I can. So you're going to get data. We can turn you on. So what do we get the choice of? We're going to want the computer. And construction kits. I know you're in here somewhere. I'm going to keep clicking unless I've missed it. It's entirely possible. There we go. It's under kit computer. So we need iron, gold, and copper again. Okay, so can we just eject you? We can. So there's iron, gold, and copper. And whether I've got enough gold or not will be something else, but that's okay. I'm just going to dump them into this side. We could do with some kind of distribution system, but I don't know of any just yet, although I am still very early game. Hopefully some of you guys have actually purchased this. So yeah, let's make one of you. That's significantly faster. So let's just get that sorted, and then we want a logic board. Motherboard logic. We're going to need more gold. Okay, but I can pick up the computer and we can decide where it goes just before the sun goes down again, and I go and hunt down this. So here's what I was saying about the data. Let's just rotate this. The data is on the right hand side here. The power's on the left. So we're going to have to build it sort of this direction maybe, which isn't too bad. Yeah, is that going to block this? No, that shouldn't block the solar panel. It's just probably going to block me. No, that's not too bad either. So that'll do. And then if we just take out this and grab the cutters, we can deconstruct that and then change this over to a junction. Rotate it around. And that has power. It will have power. Yeah, it just doesn't have any logic board yet, so which we need some gold. So I need to go and get some gold, and you may not be able to see this. Oh, it's too dark. Let me just... There you go. Sorry about that. This is the main problem with this game. It models darkness really quite well. So yes, we need to put logic board in this slot here. And we need to get that from some gold. And I may as well pick up this copper and have the copper in here. And that will start draining. That's flashing red again. But it should dump into this lathe. And then I can go and get some materials. Let me just put this away. Whoops, no, I need to put the tool away first. Or at least I want to. There we go. Fine. Gold, here we come. Okay, once we've got the logic board, which I've got the gold for now, we can go and pop it in here and close it up. Flip the computer on and we get a logic controller. So we do get a full computer interface for this thing. How do we make it work? Well, we need data connected first of all. So let's just switch you off to save some power. Do I have 4. I need to get you to here. Okay. Let's just grab you. And what I probably want to do is tell it to make more cable coil. You're going to need copper for that, aren't you? So let me just grab that copper and feed it back in. Pull the handle back up for the auto eject. Feed it back in. And yeah, start making cable. Right, so we just need a few, not very many at all. Probably just 2 will actually do the job. And they're a bit close together for my taste, but it will work. It'll work just fine. So let's deconstruct this corner, change you to be a junction. And that should be that sorted, I think. We can put you back in and you, and I will just turn that off and pick up the extra cable coil that we don't need. There we go. Okay, so it should have everything it needs now. It's got the data, which it runs all the way. Well, it can sense everything on this line, essentially. We want the daylight sensor, and we want this. Now, the problem here we've got is this daylight sensor goes from 0 to 180 or nothing, question mark degrees. The solar panel doesn't go from 0 to 180, it goes from 0 to 100. So for every 10% of this rotation, we want about 18 degrees or so of daylight sensor, maybe. Okay, so I'm going to set up a program to do that. I'm just going to show you briefly how we actually do it. Let's just switch this computer on for a second. So if I click create new state, it'll give me this options. So what I want to do is create a condition and then do something if that condition is hit, and then choose where to go next. So in this case, conditions, I can see all of these things. So I want the daylight sensor. So if the daylight sensor's solar angle is, say, greater than, let's say 18, I'm going to tell it to move the solar panel vertical. And here's where you get things wrong or right. If you get it right, great, cool. If you get it wrong, reverse this. So you're either going to start at 100 or you're going to start at 0 and count up or count down, depending. There is, in theory, you can look at this and the tool says, hey, it's vertical 0%. Not always. I've had problems with that, and I think it depends which way this is facing to start off with. So I'm just going to pick random 0, okay? And I just have to reverse things otherwise. So that's all set for the first state. We create a second new state, and then in this first state, I say the next state is state 2. So when this leaves, it jumps to number 2, and then it processes number 2, then number 3, etc. So I'm going to go and set up the rest of those. And I picked the wrong one. It's deciding the sun's gone a bit too high. I'm going to shift all the way over. Point in the opposite direction. Okay, so what you need to do if you do this is choose your first condition. So in this case, solar angle is greater than 36. Let me actually decrease that back to 18 again, actually. 18, and then this should then be 90. Not starting from, oops, I should actually 90 confirm. There we go. And then if I change this to 36, let's say, and this goes go to 80. Now, it's going to seem a bit odd in that this isn't like degrees. So as we actually go down here, 44, yeah, 44, 70. And let's just go back up to the top and rerun everything. Okay, so it's going to come back over. And I'm going to keep on going while it's actually coming back over. We were on state 4, I think, 44. So what's the next one? Plus 18, so what's that, 62-ish? If I get it right. So that's 60. And then 80. This is 80 degrees now. And that's 50, is it? Yeah, so the first half, it should track just fine all the way up to, like, overhead. So all the way up to noon, if you like, on this particular moon. So there it goes. It's going to go over and point pretty much at the sun. And then, I don't like that it's yellow. It should be white in space. Which state is it on at the moment? If we scroll down, it is on state 5, which is going to point pretty much straight up. So as soon as that hits its threshold, which is 80 solar angle, it should point straight up. What's it now? 77, 78, 79, 80. Oh, you can actually shift? Yeah, there you go. It's going to point straight up. So we're now going to track the sun, which will keep maximum amount of power to the rest of our little mini base. And that's looking pretty good. So, you know, we can add more of these. And if you add more of these, the only thing you've got to do is add into actions. You'll have an extra solar panel. So you'll have to put solar panel 1 in here, vertical 50, and then solar panel 2, vertical 50, if you add them that way. So I'm not going to cover this again, but it is really straightforward. It's just a little bit laborious to set up the first time and get right. But it's working. All good. And there we go. The program's complete and it's tracking all the way across now. It should track, well, what are we up to? 139. Okay. And I think it next picks up, well, it should track all the way down to the horizon pretty much. So yeah, we're all done. And what you may find during the nighttime is that, yeah, there it goes. It's tracking almost to the end of the program now. During the nighttime, what you may find out is that this battery will drain. If that happens, don't worry, you can actually just put stuff like this coal into this, into this solid generator, as I've mentioned before. But when you turn it on, it will use all that coal as fast as it possibly can. So there's no control over this with computer control. Maybe we'll do that later. So if you do that, just watch the color of this, flip it on, wait for it to hit, you know, green. So, and make sure it isn't discharging or something like that, and then flip it back off again. Don't waste all your coal by doing that, by using that the wrong way. I did that. Don't do it. This daylight sensor's working pretty well, and it's just connected up by cable. So I think that's pretty much it for this episode. I think next episode we're going to get onto, if we just pop down here for a second and I turn on my light. Oh, one thing, by the way, remember to hit this lock mask thing so that you don't accidentally press I and then expire. Expiring would be bad. So in here, we're going to set up an airlock, and I would suggest, I'm probably going to remove some of these side blocks temporarily because you want a path to work along outside the airlock. The airlocks are a bit tricky in that you can lock yourself in, you can lock yourself out. If there's no power, you've got all kinds of problems going on. So we need to sort that out, and it's an automatic process as well. So you've got a computer in here that'll cycle things. You may have seen in the tutorial, you get that kind of module in here. And then there's cabling everywhere. So we've got to sort all of that out. And then we'll get in to start producing our base inside of here. We're going to need some kind of power generation. And what I'm probably going to do is clear out these sides here, and then we'll snake some cable through, which by temporarily deconstructing these walls partially, once we get into that kind of state, we can route the cables through them and the pipes, and then build them back up, and then we'll send the pipes up the sides and towards where our solar panel array is going to be, because we're going to have to produce another solar panel. A couple of the machines you're going to probably want to build. Oops, let me just go around here. Let's just quickly have a look through the lathe. Yeah, It is off at the moment. There we go. So some things of note. Let's see if there's anything in here. Another arc furnace, probably a dedicated one for each machine, maybe. Electronics printer, we've already got. Furnace, you're going to need that for steel. So you're going to need iron and copper for that. So it's not very hard to make, but you are going to need it for steel. Hydraulic pipe bender, you're going to need that for pipes. Iron walls, lockers, stackers. I think stackers are probably for the output for here. I'm not sure, but I'll actually build one. In fact, can we build one now? We just need some iron. Do I have any? Oh, I've got 4 grams. What is that whole thing? I'm going to need more iron. Let me just, that's lead. That's no good. Iron. I'll put this in and then we'll start at the next episode and see what we do with these. So let's just pop you in. And this will start draining. That's why it's flashing red. And of course, I've got to then feed in coal if I need to. But how fast are you actually? Oh, you cook that pretty fast. Gold's much, much slower at cooking down. So I think what we may want to do eventually is have multiple arc furnaces, each for a specific metal maybe, or something along those lines, so we don't have any bottlenecks. Hope you enjoyed the episode. Feel free to give it a thumbs up or, subscribe if you haven't. Otherwise, we'll see you next episode with airlocks, I think.